Find out what's going on. Get involved. Change things from the inside. Make a difference. Take pride. Multicultural at its best. The Luisa Marshall Show. Coming up.
Today, all new Simply the Best Season 7. Get involved. In light of the tragic civil war in Syria, millions of Syrian refugees are waiting for many countries to open their doors to give them a second chance for a better, peaceful life. There was estimated 4.3 million Syrians have been displaced. On December 10, 2015, Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau personally welcomed 160 individuals and families that escaped the war. In Vancouver, MLA for Vancouver Kensington Mable Elmore conducted a community public forum on how the people can help to welcome and make the Syrian refugees transition and settlement easy.
Their country, leave everything behind.
It was also an eye-opening discussion in between meaningful expression of gratitude from Syrian refugees who have become professionals and successful.
I came to Canada because I believe in the diversity. What struck me most here, like my first.
All these coming up. Happy Monday. We have a meaningful show for all of you. We're taking you all to East Vancouver to witness and listen on how a community together can make waves of difference to the lives of Syrian refugees. MLA Mable Elmore organized this open forum to bring forth projects, initiatives, solutions to their smooth transition.
Hundreds of thousands, millions of people from Syria uprooting themselves to leave the country, risking their welfare, and to make the dangerous trip to leave their country, leave everything behind, and come to our shores here in Canada. So this is an afternoon to learn about the circumstances, what's happening in Syria, what are the root causes of this crisis conflict, the reality, the stories of Syrians leaving their country. We have people who will speak to that, great presentations, and what we can do here in Vancouver and as Canadians to respond to that great crisis. So,
circumstances and the root causes of the Syrian crisis and the stories of why Syrians are leaving their country were discussed and presented.
The reason why we wanted to hold this forum is also to have a dialogue. We've come out of a federal election where I think the treatment of the use of refugees as a wedge issue and as an inflammatory issue was really turned aside by the Canadian public and voting for a change of government. And a very positive position now where the incoming Liberal government under Justin Trudeau has welcomed 25,000 refugees from Syria to take up that humanitarian call, and it's really been a national project across our country to welcome refugees and to really rebuild and encourage those Canadian values of being welcoming, being generous, and really understanding the roots of what it means to be Canadian and welcoming refugees. Yesterday, and I'll just close with, yesterday I attended an event to mark the December 18th was the International Day for Migrant Workers, and talking about advocating on behalf of the rights and welfare of migrant workers. Refugees are also, in the context of migrants, a different experience, and certainly fleeing for their lives. That's the definition of a refugee, fleeing under threat of persecution and often with their lives in danger, having to leave everything behind to really for survival. So that is there's a connection between refugees and migrant workers. And I know there's more, some questions we have as well from immigrant communities around, what's our connection? What is our solidarity with refugees, people who are fleeing these situations? So part of the, what we wanted to come out of this forum and moving forward is to build more awareness, more understanding, that solidarity across cultures, across communities, and really strengthen ourselves around those fundamental values, Canadian values of inclusiveness, generosity and solidarity.
Vancouver City Councillor Jeff Meg spoke on how the City of Vancouver can engage the welcoming Syrian refugees.
Of course, the City of Vancouver is a junior level of government, but we've had a long involvement with the concerns of newcomers to see that the creation of a city culture that's inclusive and tolerant and supports the prosperity of newcomers is really critical for us in every way. And as a result of that, the mayor for a number of years now, and the mayors before him have had a mayor's working group on immigration. I'm currently the co-chair, and some of the leading service providers and leaders of various cultural communities participate in that group at the mayor's invitation to give advice on what we can and should do even before this crisis. So one of the things that was very important was continuing engagement and support, including financial support to settlement services. So Multicultural Helping House, for example, but also ISS of BC and Mosaic and others have had space produced by the city's actions. And in the case of ISS of BC, which has now been designated as the lead organization to support the arrival of Syrian refugees, we are major funders of Welcome House, which is at the corner of Victoria Drive and Broadway, which is unique in Canada. It's a housing development, including financial services, medical clinic, and that kind of thing, where new arrivals can come for that critical first period and get themselves sorted out and then move on to permanent housing.
It was explained that there are initiatives underway, and the forum aims to build bridges for organizations, groups, and individuals to connect and help the smooth transition of the Syrian refugees.
One of the big things that I would like each of the MLAs here and council members to focus on is that these people are displaced in camps, and they have had poor nutrition. They have been without really good medical access and dental services, so they will need this help. And we need to now come to our local physicians. You'll find that when you go to a GP here, most of them are not taking new patients. We need to kind of force the issue of closure on this. They can take people, and we are trying to make this effort to see if we can get our local physicians to come to our mosque and provide these people some kind of medical support. This is an area that we need to work on. Until the refugees come in and we know the specificity of their need, we cannot really mobilize collection processes. Money is the most flexible way to help. And then looking at other things that are required by a non-profit in your area, talk to them rather than just go there and say, I have got a carload of stuff to deliver to you. That's what I would encourage. I'm very encouraged to see so many people so interested in a humanitarian effort to touch somebody and change their lives. This is something that will give you a sense of satisfaction and direction, and which nothing else can give you. There's nothing better than helping somebody else. And this is a wonderful opportunity. Thank you very much.
Kay, a refugee camp volunteer with Doctors Without Borders, showed a presentation of the history of Syria to what it has become now.
This is Syria before the war. So these are the people that were supposed to have already. Most of them are traumatized by the situation. So I know that they need help, they need respect, and they need what can we do for them. It's really great for them.
Luisa Bautista from the Immigrant Services Society of BC gave a presentation about what happens when the refugees get to British Columbia.
So good afternoon to everyone. My name is Luisa Bautista from Immigrant Services Society of BC. At ISS, we are lucky to have a director who are really committed to the cause of refugees in general and has taken the lead to actually bring forward the plight of the Syrian refugees even before the election. And I hope, and I believe through some of the work that he has done, and the national settlement bodies as well, that this positive outcome, arrivals of the Syrian refugees are going to happen. And also we hope to also through the flight of the Syrian refugees to also bring forward the cause of the refugees in general.
Members from the Syrian community of BC share their experiences into coming to Canada and how it impacted their lives forever.
We're going to hear now a couple of personal stories from two very brave and courageous women. Abir, you just successfully graduated, is it UBC? SFU, from Bachelor of Psychology and working at the Heart and Stroke Foundation. And Reem, you arrived in Canada 16 months ago?
Yes, actually.
Wow, yeah, from Syria. And Reem is an engineer and currently working at BC Hydro. So welcome these incredible women to share their stories with us.
We're currently working on a lot of initiatives to help support the refugees as well as a community, Syrian community here in British Columbia, and we're currently working on a lot of volunteer-led initiatives. So we just wanted to give you a little bit of background information about Syria, because I'm sure many of you haven't heard too much about Syria as a country and as our culture previously, before the war and before everything that has happened. There are a lot of misinformation about the Middle East and Syria in particular, in general.
We also, as I mentioned, we have a lot of religious diversity. So we had many different religions within Syria, Muslims, Christians, Jews, Yazidis, and other religious groups coexisted for a very long time. And that's an essential part of Syrian culture, is the coexistence of many religions and all of us living peacefully and harmoniously and supporting each other and living within an intertwined and peaceful community. Of Syrians are educated, so I'm sure the refugees or the individuals who will be coming here are going to be contributing a great deal of knowledge and expertise, and they'll be contributing a lot to their communities and Canada as a whole. And Syria has a very high literacy rate. Schooling and education is taken very seriously. I often talk about this to my non-Syrian friends. I always tell them, like, whenever I go to Syria and my cousins, they're always like, well, we studied this and that, and I'm like, well, that's very advanced compared to my Canadian education.
I came here to Canada 16 months ago. I seek asylum with my 2 kids leaving Syria. I just wanted to share some of what is living in Syria, although it was like 2 years ago. The situation is much worse now. People live without electricity. Like, for example, I'm from Aleppo. Aleppo now is without electricity for the 67th day in a row. Aleppo was without internet for 9 months. The people of Aleppo spent the summer, last summer and the summer before, without water. I mean, if you can imagine, like, waking up in the morning, just opening your tap just to wash your face, while my people over there just wake up, send their small children to some wells or to the mosque or to the churches where they have a little bit of water to grab it and come home. I came to Canada because I believe in the diversity. What struck me most here, like my first impression about Canada, it's that all these people coming from the 4 corners of the world, and yet they were not obliged to leave their cultural differences and what do they believe or how they celebrate their holidays or their languages. They form these communities and they all live together and integrate together. And this is the kind of like diversity that we're looking for to live here in Canada. So I didn't prepare for this. I'm sorry. Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Amazing work. Syrian people, for me, it's personal. I love the Syrian people. And by the way, I'm also very selfish. I love their food. I wish I have home. I have them so they can teach me their Syrian food. Whenever you get the chance, guys, go to Syrian home. They make delicious food. During the war, I'll make it very good. During the war, when the government of Saddam was falling, a lot of Iraqis escaped. They refuged in Syria after the government collapsed, but Baghdad fell and all that horror stuff that happened. A lot of the people, including my uncle, stayed in Syria. And Syrian people actually had no problem, didn't have like refugee status, nothing. They were Iraqis living with Syrians in their homes. They lived in their home. Iraqis, like by the hundreds and thousands, they lived in Syria for years. They welcomed us, and I am eternally thankful. You saved our people. I'm Kurdish, I'm Arabs, I love you guys. I'll do whatever I can to help the Syrian people. And also, on top of all that, I'm Canadian. I love Canada.
Welcome everyone. My name is Nazma. I immigrated in 2004 here with my 2 kids. I stayed in Turkey in camp for 5 years.
Wow.
I lost my families. And I lost 2 of my boys, but I have 2. Now they graduate from high schools, and one is 22 and one is 19. I'm happy to be in Canada. They saved my son's life and my life. And as Lausanne said, I speak Kurdish and Arabic. I used to be a volunteer with ISS, with Chris Prison, and I help Syrian people, Arabic people, and Kurdish people. And I love to help, and we still, as a Kurdish house, we're willing to help. And thank you so much.
First off, as a Migrant member, I would want to say that we stand in solidarity with the Syrian refugees, and we know what their situation is because in our long, difficult history as Filipinos, a lot of countries had accepted people, Filipinos, who were fleeing persecution and were seeking asylum.
Hello everyone, my name is Omar Datim. I'm from the Capital University Human Resources Management. I'm with my colleague Amina here today. And really I just wanted to sort of provide some closing statements. Aside from just the university and the academics that we have to deal with, I truly believe that education is probably one of the most prominent things that we need in today. And I absolutely acknowledge what the Vice Principal, her efforts in trying to at least educate the children, trying to adapt them to this culture and what we do here in Canada, and I think it's absolutely amazing. So I think one of the things that we can at least take away and go home and ponder about is, try to spread the word. These people really, all they want to do is come here and live life, educate themselves. I come as an immigrant. My mom's a doctor. She had to start all over when she came here. Now she is sort of the district pathologist at Nanaimo. So these people really want to proceed and they want to sort of gain everything that they had and try to improve it here in Canada. So as far as what we are doing here is try to improve the lives of these people and welcome them with open arms. And I certainly believe that the initiative that we're doing, and especially what you're holding today, is fantastic, and I thank you all for coming.
Hello everyone, I'm Amina. I'm the Chaperone University Association. Also, I'm my last year in business. One thing that I wanted to say, thank you so much for sharing your stories. And I believe in one thing, one of our core values is leadership. And I believe all of us here we show our commitment to change, to make a difference in our community, and I believe that all of you are leaders, and we are all leaders to bring difference and make change and make Canada beautiful and more than we see now. So basically to integrate and help refugees to be integrated in our society and just make it beautiful and show our commitment and engagement. And one thing is to stay connected. Because staying connected really will make a difference. Even just if we lost a quarter, that will make change and bring a difference. And thank you so much for coming today, and please stay connected.
I want to conclude and just thank all the participants and all the presenters for taking the time and speaking, for everyone who attended, and for all the great work that's going on in the community. Again, I want to encourage you to get to know each other and introduce yourself, build those relationships, and maintain those connections. And so I want to conclude by thanking all of you. I think it was just a terrific afternoon and a very positive way for us to go forward, to chart that course forward with all of you, and look forward to more initiatives. I know the project at Tecumseh School is a great ongoing project, and let's continue to work together and to work in solidarity and building the community in Canada that we want to see and that holds that great potential.
Amazing. Such a tremendous outpouring support all over Canada. There are various ways of helping the Syrian refugees through the ISS Immigrant Services Society of BC. Don't forget to pick up a copy of Metrovan Independent News or go online, metrovanindependent.com. Happy Family Day! Please don't drink and drive, don't text and drive, always be kind. Let's stop bullies. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Bye-bye.